Here we go. It is Angela and JoAnne here with the School of Humankind for you today. We're so happy to be here.
Yes, we
You know,
are.
I do all the steps to go LinkedIn Live, and I had it all set up, and then you press live and it actually screws everything up again. So every time we do it, I learn. Uh,
Yes.
So, welcome everyone. Today we are going to talk about how to do a digital detox, but basically everything about digital distraction because it's just it's something in all of our lives. And JoAnne and I, excuse me, I'm still recovering from a cold. We have talked about it separately in our own businesses. So I thought it would be a great time just to share ideas, share thoughts, share our personal journeys about digital distraction. But before I go in to that, School of Humankind, I don't know if you've just seen our new logo, uh, but we love it because it's a tree with roots going over a heart, and it's everything underneath a flourishing organism has heart to it and a heart of kindness. So in a world where we are just some days you go, what is going on? Uh, we can, encourage having great discussions with each other, and we don't and we want to focus on kindness, which isn't necessarily nice. It is just kind with the emphasis on being curious about other people's perspectives and really understanding and hearing each other. So with that, we are so happy to be here. JoAnne, I'm going to let you introduce yourself quickly, and
Yes,
people
quickly.
can people can get to know who you are and where are you?
I'm coming in from Chicagoland in the United States. And I'm an integrative wellness consultant. I've been working in wellness for over the past 2 decades. So I've seen things that have helped people get healthy and help disrupt their healthiness. And this topic is so big right now because like you said, we're here to talk and discuss, but most of the time when people are discussing something, they always have their phone, right? So with that, we can really get into how we can put our phone down, not look at it as much, and how we can actually track it in a digital detox. Because I don't know if most people know this, but you can track how many times you touch your phone. And it's a little alarming. So I'm glad to be here today. Thanks, Angela.
I don't even know if I want to know how to do that. Uh,
Yeah.
Sometimes my phone tells me my screen time, and lately it's been picking up my computer too, and I'm just like, oh, that's horrible.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's counting other weird minutes, but anyway. So I'm Angela Jamieson, co-founder with John Britton for the School of Humankind. And also I help busy professionals see the logic behind the softer sides of life so they can experience relaxed productivity. So that's sort of my jam, is getting people to be productive, but also to stop and smell the roses once in a while, because that's what life is all about, is all those little things that we don't want to pass by without noticing, like our kids or our spouse or, the flowers in the garden. So let's go on with our digital distraction. JoAnne, you mentioned already a few things about how often we touch our phones and how much they are part of our lives. And I know you and I, when we're digital, when we do stuff digitally on online, it's almost, I mean,
Makes
we're,
you sick, makes you feel sick.
yeah.
I
And
just say it right out. It does. Makes you feel sick, you know?
yeah,
And I think I'll add that that's the reason why I got really passionate about this topic because I was spending a lot of time in front of my computer after my kids had both gone to school, and I was spending a lot of time on all the platforms trying to get up to speed, trying to learn new programs. and I literally felt ill. I was like, what is this? Is just too much. My eyes were strained. The energy that comes from the screens was like wearing me down. And so I got really into it. And there is science behind the fact that we can use it as a tool and it is good. There is good that comes from us. Obviously, we're talking on Zoom right now. So I think that we just have to make a healthy balance of it, you know, and that we need to take the time to get away from it daily. And when you said like you're missing moments, like we miss those micro moments when we constantly have a phone to look at or a computer screen in front of us. And, I'll bring up the social dilemma, the movie, and most people know about that documentary. It was just that scene where and if you haven't seen it, it's a social dilemma. It's a documentary about, the usage of screen time and phones and social media and how it's affecting our youth and well, adults as well. But that people sometimes they get anxiety if they can't look at their phone, or they get anxiety if they can't check their email or their text. And that's a little disturbing.
Yeah.
It's like a cigarette. They've called it like the new nicotine addiction. And now
Yeah.
some people
Like
might be like, that's really extreme, right?
it's the huge dopamine hits that we get. And I have a theory, and there's no science behind this, but those of us who have grown up without it and now we have it, I feel like there's even more transformation with us than with our kids who have just always had it.
Right.
And I know personally, I feel a little like I'm not in the present sometimes when I'm always in a digital world. And what I've taught in my communities is it's like our brain is like a snow globe that is constantly being shaken because we're introducing different things, so many different topics. And I never doom scrolled before, but I see my kids do it once in a while, and I go, "What is to that?" So actually, like probably a couple of months ago, I thought, I'm gonna just try this. I wasn't a big Instagram user because I'm an old fogey Facebook person, but I thought I'm gonna try Instagram, and I did just doing what they did. Oh, you can lose a lot of time. That
Yeah.
algorithm knows what I like.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting, and I've really tried to curb that, but you can lose hours. I'm sure most people can relate. So if you've never doom scrolled, don't do it.
Yeah. Well,
It'll
it
suck
is,
your brain out.
it's true that it is changing. It's literally changing the neuroplasticity in our brain. Like there's new pathways that are being made so that we are constantly distracted. Like I'll go upstairs and wonder what did I go upstairs for? More now than ever. Like obviously I'd forget things before, but now it's I even go into screens and I think, well, wait, I left the screen to go somewhere else, but why did I go to the screen? So it's just a flip flop, and it's kind of like that. I like what John says, like the hummingbird. It's like we're just touching so many things and we're having so many inputs. There's some research that said that we're taking more in one day that humans took in the 1700s in a lifetime. So more inputs in one day. So
Are
our
we
brains,
creating ADHD for ourselves?
yeah, and you hear people say that all the time. They use that term so freely. I'm ADHD, or it's ADHD, ADHD, and and I know that is a serious issue that can be genetic, but we're not helping it with
Yeah.
the people that maybe aren't apt to be, ADHD. We're not helping the situation with all the digital distractions. So one thing that, or not one thing, but like three things I always point out when I do workshops for digital distraction is, the three main reasons that you want to take a sabbatical. So I don't know if you want to go into those or if you have
Yeah,
any of
let's
your
do it.
own.
Nope, let's go.
Well, the main thing is that most people go to bed with their phone. In fact, there's research that says 60% of people sleep with their phones at night around the world. This is worldwide. 60% of people sleep with their phone. I have my phone next to my bed. I turn it on airplane mode, but I don't go to bed with it. I don't scroll with it anymore. And I used to. I used to, but it's been 4 years now that I can say that I'm pretty good about just putting it away. And I call it a digital sundown where I just, put it away at a certain time. And I'm really regular about that. I make it a habit. So I encourage people just to start making small habits. But there are really big reasons, and that's sleep, because we have blue light that's coming. And even if you turn off the blue light, like people have on their phone, there's an option now to either lower blue light. And, they're like, well, it's not disrupting my sleep because I'm turning it on this other mode. But it does still affect you because it's inputs, it's mental inputs that you're putting into your brain. So, like you said, you're blowing up your brain with that snow globe effect, and you're typically want to wind your brain down before sleep. You want to calm yourself down, calm the mind so that you can drift off and not have your mind explode in the middle of the night. Sometimes people wake up because they've been simulating themselves before bed, either with movie, TV, or watching iPad or scrolling. And then they wake up at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. and they can't go back to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's a big reason is that sleep disruption, and sleep is the main pillar for
And I think
health.
that's one of the biggest misconceptions is people say, I've had such a hard day. I just want to relax. And this is how they relax. And I remember I did a speech about relaxed productivity, and someone asked the question, what is a, you know, what is a way to relax? Or maybe what shouldn't we do to relax? And I'm like, do not doom scroll because that's actually not relaxing. You're not relaxing your brain. You're actually filling it up and causing yourself to just go into a little bit of a frenzy. It's like a brain frenzy that we're almost getting used to and we almost like. It's that dopamine thing again, is that we're being fed constantly all this entertainment when in fact we need to actually give our brain time to rest and focus on either one thing or nothing.
Yeah,
That's a skill I think
focused
we're
attention.
losing.
hmm Yeah, focused attention is really gone to the wayside. A lot of people can't focus anymore, even just in simple tasks, because they're so used to the flip flop and the scroll.
Yeah.
And the one thing I wanted to stress, I'll go back to focus, but one thing I wanted to stress outside of the blue light, people have these blue light glasses. I love my kids.
Ooh, ooh.
The blue light glasses, those are helpful for your eyes, right? So those will kind of filter out the blue light, but then you're still getting the emittance. It's the electromagnetic frequencies from our devices. It's like a buzz that we don't hear. It's a buzz that comes from everything. I have a buzz in my earphone right now. I can hear subtle. It's the waves that we don't see, but it's those electromagnetic frequencies that they have found interrupt in our cellular health.
Mm.
So there's this oxidative stress that happens when we surround ourselves with too many screens or too much screen time. They have found that under the microscope, it's interfering in cellular activity, and not in a good way, where it's actually weakening our immune system. So when you spend a lot of time when you're doing all of the things for your business and it's overload in front of the screen, yeah, you will feel ill. I remember I'd have deadlines and making, either presentations or writing. And after I'd be in front of that screen, from morning till like 11 at night, it's like, you can tell your body does not feel good. And you get, you just came off of being ill, maybe not because of the screen, but that feeling. It's
Yeah.
not a good feeling to be in front of the screen all the time.
No, absolutely. And not for such a long period of time, which we tend to do as digital creators. Okay, so going back to, you said you had three things.
Mm-hmm. One is sleep. Like one is the main reason we want to get off of devices is so we can improve our sleep.
Yeah.
And number two is our cellular health. We want to be mindful of what's happening. We can't see it, but it's directly affecting. And you know the red. Okay, so I'll just give this example. You'll see children who are in front of like an iPad or a computer, and their face gets red. And sometimes my face gets red too if I'm sitting too close to a screen. And I know your kids are grown now, but if you look at that, it's it's just a display that it's actually working in that way where it's affecting, like those rays are actually affecting the children. And there's also research to show that it does increase the heat there is heat that comes off of our devices.
I have never noticed that. I'm gonna have to look.
Yeah. So, and again, that's probably because it's too close. And you can have your distance, they say like an arm's length, but most of the time people are like this.
Can you get a tan?
You get Yeah. You know what? Yeah, the screen tan will be the new thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that, moderating the time that we use it and creating time blocks where we use it is important. It depends on your job. And, some people will say, well, I have to look at a screen all day. And, I'm a financial planner and I'm looking at the markets and I have to stare at the screen. And yes, but you can also create time to step away from that. And I think that's what programming yourself into a new habit is all about. And that's where a digital detox comes in. Um, so, the third thing was just mental focus. We kind of hit that first. Like mental focus, we know that it's disrupting our productivity. I mean, I think everyone would admit that their productivity is sort of thrown out of balance with the phone unless they put it on do not disturb.
Yeah.
And if you can put your phone on do not disturb for time blocks, then it'll eliminate that. Oh, I have to check this or I have to do that. Or there's certain habits that you can create with your tabs. If you just keep one tab open and then, minimize the others. I know, like in a
I
perfect
know.
world.
Exactly. I can't. Well, just before this call, because we did a call a few months ago, and I had so many tabs open that I think I crashed the Zoom. So
Yeah.
my computer just said, enough, I cannot do this anymore. So actually, my computer gave out before me. Yes,
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I,
Well, it's
I
true.
put
It's
my
it.
computer in a horrible contest.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to recap. So sleep, cellular activation, health,
Yeah.
and
Health.
focus. Those
Yeah.
are
You're
the
meant.
things.
Those are the three big reasons that you want to take a break.
Yeah, and so let's go into how we would take a break. So when I talk to my community about this, it's hard, people are so used to waking up, they got their alarm, so they turn off their alarm and then some little notification will come up of what you missed while you were sleeping. And it's like so difficult to not check those notifications, I think, like for the majority of people. I saw Mel Robbins, she had talked about what she does in the morning. And so her phone is in her bathroom, so in her ensuite bathroom. Excuse me. So when her alarm goes off, she's forced to get out of bed to turn it off, and then she immediately turns it face down. So she'll turn it off and then she'll puts it face down. So that's actually, even those, it sounds so easy, but I think it is breaking a habit for a lot of people of just lifting up their phone and starting to scroll immediately. But we know that we need that, like, give yourself time to settle into your day. So that's what, I've worked on in my membership in terms of let's try to keep the first hour just to ourselves. Like, just go have your breakfast, have, some movement, read a book, something that is just for you without before you get into your digital world.
Yeah. Well, it's being creative before reactive. Or when you said creating an hour before you get into work, that reminds me of Hal Elrod in The Miracle Morning. If you haven't heard of Hal Elrod, he's awesome. He wrote The Miracle Morning and he discovered that, just adding his savers, his 10 minutes of this activity before he actually went, in front of a computer or his phone or anything. That savers approach, you can look that up in his book. It's the regimen that he created to be with himself in order to just have that start of the day be more of a sacred time than an electronic time. Because that's that creativity that we owe ourselves rather than the reactivity that happens immediately when we see a text or an email like, oh, there goes my morning. I just read that, text thread that, either made you upset or excited or whatever emotion it is. It's not really your own sacred time.
Yeah, and I think that I'm just going to hop onto that in terms of the way you phrased it is really good that um, we are spend a few minutes with ourself to connect with ourself before we give ourselves away to whatever else is pulling on us. I think that's really a really key moment is to not to forget who we are and that we actually deserve the attention from ourselves
Mhm.
before we give it all away.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's where digital detox comes in. So you don't need to necessarily go off of it for a month. Like I didn't on purpose for the month of January, but it just happened where I was just really disconnected from all of the platforms. And I didn't miss it. I felt really good about it. And then I was like, well, that was digital detox January, I didn't have the time to do it.
Did you go through withdrawal?
No, I
Curious
didn't.
minds want to know. No.
I did not go through withdrawal. I felt no, I will say that there was an emotion that happens that they're realizing that people do feel guilty if they don't check in to all the platforms. I felt guilty to my business, like I'm not doing the right post or I'm not showing up. I should be creating content. I should be notifying, my customers or my audience on what's going on. But like, really, is it that big of a deal? Did anybody really miss? And half the time the algorithm doesn't show your stuff anyway. So I would say that it doesn't have to be a month, it doesn't even have to be a week, it can be a day. Sometimes people use Sunday as a day where they don't look at their phone or they don't touch email. I would just encourage you to create some type of rhythm or time blocks away from it so that when you are on it, you're on it and you're productive and you're using it as a tool. And then when you're off of it, you just put the phone away or, like the Mel Robbins approach, you don't look at it, you can put it in its nest. Like, they have these cute little holders now for phones. Like, it could be a stuffed animal or it could be whatever is out there. There's quite a few things out there, but you can put it there and like, I'm not going to touch it. I'm not going to look at it. And I have no need to reference it for at least 2 hours. You make the time, but you create that rhythm and then it's a habit. And I have a rule no phones at the table. And still my husband wants to read sports at the table. That's my newspaper. I don't care. Just no phones at the table.
Oh, your husband. Oof.
Yeah. How dare him?
Talk to me. Talk to the children. We are
Yeah.
your newspaper of your family.
Well, and then when kids come over too, I mean, I'm nice about it, but you're not going to like me, but I don't want you to have your phone at the table. And then they'll be, as they're scrolling through, the TikTok, which my kids don't have, and whatever other social platforms, as they're scrolling, listening to videos. It's just we're not doing that at the table. You can go do it, outside or somewhere else, but not at the table because it's the digestion. And you and I both know this because we have this similar. Um,
We've
we
had
have
discussions before.
Yeah, about mental digestion.
Mm.
And really, it's beyond what we're eating, it's what we're taking in mentally. And that is all those inputs we are digesting, whether we know it or not. And it's affecting our physical digestion as well.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's a whole other rabbit hole to go into. That's a whole topic on digestion, which,
Yes. We'll have to do another talk another time.
yeah, you and I share a passion about that digestion,
Yes.
which
Well,
will be in Angela's book, which will come out this year.
yeah. May. I'm aiming for May. So what I found on the focus part of things that I think a detox really helps with is that when you put your phone down, number one, you realize all the other things you should be doing, like laundry. I'm just talking about my own life here.
Yeah.
Like, oh, geez, I have all these chores to do that I forgot about because I was on my phone. So you actually realize that there's a life that you're still living in reality. My husband always, my kids play games. So he's like, how about we do some games IRL in real life? Let's
Yes,
go
yes.
chop some wood. He's like, yeah, he makes them do chores, but he has to say, engage back to your real life. They're creating worlds or whatever in their virtual life. Well, like, come freaking cut some wood with me in real life. He's
Yeah.
always amazing. But you forget about all this other stuff you have to do because you're just so engrossed. So I think when you do a digital detox, all of a sudden you're you're given all this free time.
Mhm.
So, and people need to reconnect with what's important. What were their hobbies? You know, it's almost like a lot of people have used the digital attachment as a hobby.
Mhm. Exactly. And I think that the connections are lost with, the human connection is lost. You can see the human behind the screen, but the human connection, there's a difference. It's a physical, mental, and emotional difference when you're present with another human being.
Yeah. And excuse me, I noticed that with my university kids, they're both going to the same college I went to. So in terms of we're all I apparently just raise engineers. So they're all going engineering. And in our first year in the first week of school in our day, we had all of these amazing games, competitions with other colleges. It was just really we got together, physically partied in that first week, especially. And now my kids, they have nothing. Like I think everyone is so happy in their digital world that actually getting together physically is more difficult for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, it's the
it
community. Yeah.
stops that face to face that you were
Right.
talking about.
It's communication. They're losing that ability to really communicate and look in a human's eyes, or even to listen, like the focus, like you said, the mental focus. I have this thing that I learned. Wait, I forget who I learned it from. It's a great acronym. Wait, why am I talking? So WAIT. So I've turned it into why am I teching? Why am I teching? Why am I using technology? so we can do that. We can ask ourselves that every time we want to go in front of the computer, okay, well, I'm working now. So that's why I'm teching. If you pick up the phone to use it, obviously for telephone use or calling people, that's why you're doing it. But when you do anything else on that phone, ask yourself, say, wait, why am I teching? But I'm bringing that back to the kids and the communication skills. It's because they are learning just to look and observe, and maybe they are communicating in a better way. I would say there is one positive to the FaceTime or the video call, because opposed to when we were growing up, Angela, that we were talking on the phone and we weren't seeing people's faces. They actually are, in a FaceTime call, communicating and actually waiting for each other to talk. So that is one positive out of it. And there are other positives, but the other thing is they also, when you are scrolling, bringing it back to the distraction, they don't have the attention span to wait for you to tell them something either. And I like to say, just wait between what someone's trying to tell you and then trying to answer, because they're so used to everything happening at the speed of light that they want you to get it out. And I realize this with clients. Even clients will say, I'm just looking at that person saying, hurry the F up, because I need to get out what I want to say, and it's common for all of us. It's like, stop, I'm ready to talk now. I'm ready to talk, like, that just, I'm ready. It's that whole speed of light mentality that we've adapted, where we need to slow down so that we can actually listen with full presence.
Yeah.
And it's difficult. Just as that explanation happened, you're probably like, okay, get on with it. No. Finish it up, JoAnne.
No, there's also what I've noticed is kids expect results quick
Yeah.
because influencers or whatever, content creators, they will create a video over months of how they built something, excuse me, or how they created something. And it's like us watching any kind of home renovation show. It's like done in an hour. It looks amazing, and bada bing, it's done, right?
Mhm.
And when we start to expect that, and we don't put in the time that it takes to actually achieve something. So I think the focus for long-term growth and achievement is potentially at risk with our
Yeah.
youngers because they just expect even those weight loss ones, which I love, the before is, a year ago and they've consistently done the work and now they look amazing, but you just want it now.
Yeah.
And yeah,
The quick fix. Yeah.
yeah, that's
Quick.
what we're kind of turning into. That's why people who who want to lose weight or who want to make money, who want to do all those things that take dedicated application of your time and effort are getting, they're throwing money at people who say, just do this. And it's like, it's
Yeah.
not actually that simple ever.
Never. No.
So I
And
think,
it takes focus, and I think that taking time to realize how your digital use is affecting you. First, a pause to figure out, like, looking into your phone. So I want to add this, and I know we're coming to a close. I don't know how Android records it, and I know that they do, but on an Apple or an iPhone, you can actually go into your settings and look at your phone usage so much that you can go into how many times you pick it up a day. And so that ability is there. And on an average, they say, I think it's an average of 96 times a day. I know you're in Canada, so this is applying to Americans, but an average American checks their phone 96 times a day. And I could say that since I'm picking up my phone sometimes to do texts and things, I was blown away when I first checked how many times I picked my phone up. It's on an average like 100 plus, 120 touches to the phone. Wow, what the heck? How am I doing that?
what do you
So
mean
now I'm
is like,
touches. Like, if you touch your phone, if you
but
touch it,
if you're doing texting, then that's okay.
yeah, that's okay though. It actually breaks it down and records what you're doing on it. So it'll record like the platform you're using, texting, phone calling, all of that, WhatsApp. It will record how much time you spend on all of those, like how much time you tapped into those.
Oh, that's so dangerous.
Yeah, it's data to use. It's not to get hung up on, but it's to really wake yourself up to realize, like, how can I lower that the distraction of touching and lifting up and looking, and maybe time blocking the text responses, maybe time blocking the phone calls so that you're not just doing it on demand when somebody wants you, you
Yeah.
know.
So if we want to summarize more of the how to, we've talked about
Mhm.
giving yourself some time in the morning, some time in the evening,
Yeah. It's
actually, and you talked about time blocking. So, um, because we do have to use our computers, but for instance, doing the Pomodoro, even, do 25 minutes working and then 5 minutes go do something else, like even change the focus of your eyes. Because
yeah.
that's really important that we're not just stuck at this level, this
Yeah.
distance of focus.
And tech neck, there's all the ergonomics that go into it. Just even mouse shoulder, we call it. It's all these body things that you don't realize, but that are affecting your muscles. And like you said, the eye strain, all those things that.
Yeah.
So taking a 5 minute break. I guess what I'd say is a worksheet. So I have a worksheet. Maybe we can line up the link for it for the listeners. So a worksheet would come out of the workbook that I use, where you can actually lay out when you are using your computer and your phone throughout the day, like when you typically use it, and then create times where you want to use it outside of work. And then you don't have to be so rigid about it, but then it's in your mental mindset. So the fact that you're aware of it makes you lessen the activity on it, so just being mindful is the first step, and then recording it, and then creating, a challenge for yourself. Can I hit this month with one day where I don't look at my phone, or even half a day where I don't look at my phone?
Let's start with a few hours. I don't look at my phone. Those
Yeah.
sometimes it has to be that granularity, right? But
Yeah.
what's that saying about what gets measured gets changed or something like that?
Yeah,
So
it's true.
yeah, so
Yeah,
you have to know where you're starting before you can make that improvement. And even if the stats look pretty horrible to start out with, even making a little improvement on that will show how you're improving.
exactly. And if you find like five things for 2025, I'd say five is a good five is our work or our number this year. Five things in 2025 that you want to learn something new that you want to do that will require you to do less on your phone and to engage in more in that phone time. So it can be, like I want to paint or I want to learn guitar or I want to, do a running club where you would normally be maybe just at home scrolling after work, but now you're learning something new, taking a class, taking the relaxed productivity course with
That's
Angela.
right. No. Well, I almost said don't do that because it makes you sit down, but
Oh, yeah.
you should. Anyway, you
It's
haven't gone to pickleball yet, have you?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. No,
Yes.
I love tennis, love take pickleball. I love getting out there and being active and competitive. It's fun.
Yes.
So that people might understand there's something out there that they've never tried that they're actually really good at.
Yes, exactly. You are wasting your talents by not
Yeah.
getting out and actually doing things.
Right. And then by the end of 2025, you might realize, wow, there's a lot that I accomplished that I wouldn't have accomplished because I was doom scrolling or using my phone or spending too much time on social.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these things are tools. I want to stress they're tools. They're not all bad. It's not all bad. It's just that we need to find the time block for it and then be IRL in real life.
No, they are essential. So before I let you close, I'm just going to run through quickly again what we talked about. So the reason why a detox is helpful is the sleep improvement,
Mhm.
cellular health, and mental focus. And we talked about how, in terms of doing like giving yourself time in the morning and the evening, kind of, I think you termed a digital sundown.
Yeah.
Um,
Digital sundown, digital sunset. Put it away, put it to bed.
and maybe digital sunrise in terms of just give yourself that time in the morning.
Yeah.
You did mention Hal, what's his last name again?
Oh, Hal Elrod. Hal
Yeah,
Elrod? Hal Elrod. Yes. And the Miracle Morning.
yes. And
And
just,
Savers.
yeah, savers. And so people can look that up if you want to. And
Mhm.
just getting out there to do things that IRL in real life. Did we
Yeah.
cover basically
It,
everything? And just
it,
like calming your mind so that we don't feel scattered all the time.
yeah. And I think what we can do is put the digital habit survey for the humankind community. It will ask you the questions to give yourself a digital scorecard and determine, where you fall right now. For example, do you wake up in the morning and look at your phone for weather stock or emails? And you give yourself a score based on how many times a week you do that, or no, not never. So I will give you that and you can pass that on in the email to the participants.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, that's it for me. How about,
Yeah.
did you want to close us up with a nice red bow?
Oh, a beautiful red bow since Valentine's Day is coming this week. So give yourself a Valentine treat and stay off of your phone on Valentine's Day. Maybe that's maybe a
Especially over dinner.
yeah, especially over dinner after the Valentine dinner. So I want to say if you like this presentation, you can join our newsletter at School of Humankind. You can find us at theschoolofhumankind.com and you can find all of these great faculty members on our website. And if you want to follow us on LinkedIn, we have a LinkedIn page, the School of Humankind. All the platforms you can find us, the School of Humankind.
Actually, it's
Where
just cool. No, the.
oh, there
It's just
See, I'm using a green bow. I'm not actually wrapping us up with a big red bow. Okay, school. There is no the school of humankind. Thank you for that correction. I was having trouble finding it on LinkedIn. That's probably why.
probably. Well,
So
thank
thank you for coming today and like us, comment, and share with your friends
and
on YouTube,
yes,
LinkedIn, and everywhere else.
we'll take questions after we stop the live stream for people who have joined us. And thank you for your time, JoAnne. It's so many great pointers.
Thank you, Angela. It was so great being here with you.
All right, thanks everyone. Bye for now.